he was beaten by Chris Weidman last year. I think when a guy has a 9 or a 10 in a certain aspect, that Kelvin Gastelum might struggle. And I think Jacare Souza has a 9 or 10, ability, if you will, in submissions. And I think if they get to the ground at all, I think Jacare Souza is going to have a big advantage. I think that's probably Gastelum's weakest spot. And I think, it's going to be a tough fight. I think it's going to be a very close fight up until it stops. And I think it stops in the second round. I think Jacare Souza gets a submission win.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a submission win for Jacare as well. And as much as I love Kevin Gastelum, I think Jacare is just too powerful.
Yep. All right, to the main event from Rio de Janeiro. It is the women's bantamweight title between Amanda the Lioness Nunes, who is 15-4, versus Raquel Rocky Pennington, who is 9-5 in her mixed martial arts career. Nunes, the defending champion, she won the championship over Miesha Tate back in 2016, and was really a eye-opening performance. She dominated Miesha Tate, the eventual UFC Hall of Famer, in my opinion, and won that title. And then 5 months later, was the last person to beat Ronda Rousey. She TKO'd Ronda Rousey in 48 seconds in December of that year. And then her only fight last year was a somewhat controversial split decision win over Valentina Shevchenko in their second fight. Amanda Nunes, probably the best boxer in, I would say, women bantamweight history. I think, Holly Holm has that ability. She was a pro boxer. I think, her boxing skills are also very good, but she doesn't have really the aggression that Amanda Nunes does. And Amanda Nunes will try to go for the knockout. Maybe her last fight against Shevchenko accepted because she was kind of said at the end that she wanted to win a decision to show she could, which, is kind of questionable fight strategy. But if you look at who she's fighting, Raquel Pennington, she has won 4 in a row since she lost to Holly Holm in what was Holly Holm's debut. She's beat Jessica Andrade, who is now a strawweight, so 2 divisions down. She beat Betch Correa in split decision, someone that Ronda Rousey absolutely dominated. She won a unanimous decision over Elizabeth Phelps, in August of 2016, and then won a unanimous decision over Miesha Tate in what was Miesha Tate's last fight in that big card in Madison Square Garden, the UFC's first fight in New York. She has not fought in almost a year, or more than a year and a half. And while she has good boxing, she has good stand-up, I don't think it's really anywhere near that Amanda Nunes' boxing and stand-up is. And while I understand why UFC had to book this fight, there's not really any bona fide bantamweight challenger to Amanda Nunes right now, and they don't want to do Amanda Nunes versus Cyborg just yet. But I think this might be a run-over by Nunes.
I agree. I think that Pennington, albeit a very good challenger, I just don't think she's ready at her point in her career to take on the pro in Amanda Nunes. And even if you look at them standing next to each other, the size alone, in my opinion, is just... I just see that Amanda Nunes could easily take over this fight, no problem. She doesn't overpower her or overdominate her height or weight by a lot, but if you just look at them next to each other, she just looks like she's going to just destroy her. I mean, I love Raquel Pennington, but I just think that she's not ready at her point in the career. I think she needs to build herself up a little bit more to get to that point. And I get from the UFC standpoint, they don't want to throw Amanda Nunes and Cyborg fight to the fans right away. They need to kind of prolong this a little bit because really they got nothing else for Cyborg except for that fight, because after that then everyone's going to be like, well, what's next? Yeah. So I just think that this fight is going to be one-sided, and I think Amanda Nunes is going to win as well. I don't think it's going to be close. I think it could even be... in my head I'm thinking decision just because I think it's going to get dragged out.
Yeah.
But I want to say I'm going to go with second round submission.
Okay. Yeah, I think I actually had that too, a second round submission. I think that she batters Pennington on the feet, and kind of like how she beat Miesha Tate when she broke her nose and then took her down and then rear naked choked her. I think it'll be similar to that. Obviously not in the first round like the one against Miesha Tate was, but I think she'll batter her on the feet and then eventually wear her down enough where she can get a submission. And Pennington has not shown to be a great submission defender. So I agree. Amanda Nunes, I think, takes this win in the second round by submission. Bobby, we are already into our hour. We are 4 minutes past the hour, and I don't know about you, but I am kind of running on fumes right now. I just want to do one thing before we say goodnight for the week. There's another MMA event happening this weekend, Bellator 199 in San Jose. It's also happening Saturday night. We don't have to preview this. I just want to say that it is going to be a very good night for combat sports fans. If you're not super excited by the UFC card, you might be excited by Bellator because Ryan Bader is taking on King Mo in the last fight of the opening round for the heavyweight Grand Prix. John Fitch returns to Bellator. Actually, I don't think he ever was in Bellator, but he returns from the Pro Fighters League. He was the welterweight champion there. He's facing Paul Daly, which should be a very good fight. And there's also a Czech Congo fight and an Aaron Pico, who is an up-and-coming prospect. So a fun night on Saturday. If you don't have anything else to do, maybe some fights will tide you over.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting fights, and maybe not the top tier fights we all want to see, but hey, it's still going to be an exciting fight to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And we just have another month to wait until a big UFC event, UFC 225 I believe that's in Chicago. Yeah, it's in Chicago, where Robert Whittaker is going to take on Yoel Romero for the middleweight championship. You got Rafael Dos Anjos versus Colby Covington for, I guess they're going to do a welterweight interim title. You have Alistair Overeem versus Curtis Blades. You have CM Punk fighting, which I don't know if you're going to be too happy about that. It kind of depends on what your take on is that. But there is a lot of good fights. Clay Guida's fighting. Just a very stacked card. So only one more month, I guess 3 weeks, or actually almost a month to the day from today that we have to wait. So that will be a good one. And we'll preview that, obviously, when we get to that. But Bobby, thank you for doing the short show. I know both of us had a long week of work and another thing, so glad we were able to bang this one out, even if it was a truncated version.
Yeah, it was, like you said, kind of a last-minute thing. We kind of threw this together. It should have been Wednesday, but you know what? We still had a good show, and it's always a pleasure, Alex.
Yeah. All right, Bob. Well, I will meet you on Fortnite sometime this weekend. I will beat you, much to your surprise. And
yeah, we'll see.
And we'll report back, hopefully next Wednesday, on my big victory.
All right.
All right, Bob. Have a good night.
All right. Have a good one.
You've been listening to Club in the Goods. Catch us here every Wednesday night from 7:30 to 9:30, or check the podcast anytime you like on Spreaker.com or on the Spreaker app. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Alex Klepper and at GoodsbyBobby. Yeah, that's kind of confusing. We're sorry. Have a great night, everyone.